Hello my anime lovers! Today I'm going to talk about Saikin Maid resume. Saikin Yatotta Maid ga Ayashii, also known as the maid I hired recently is mysterious, or recently hired maid is suspicious. It's a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Wakame Konbu. The series began as a webcomic in 2019. Before the beginning serialization in Square Enix Gekkan Gangan Joker magazine on January 22 in 2020. The series was compiled into 5 tankōbon volumes starting in February 2022. This is an anime adaptation by Silver Link and Blade premieres on July 23 in 2022 on the ANiMAZiNG programming blog. Getting into the subjects now, I am going to explain what this 2022 comedy anime is about. Called Mayday Recently, is the anime tells the story of a boy who has recently become an orphan and has decided to live alone in his mansion, but is unable to do housework. But one day the mysterious maids appear and offers to help him. Spoilers are coming, attention! Be aware, inside a rustic mansion in the countryside, Yuri is observing a maid he recently hired to serve him. It turns out that the girl is very hardworking and is the complete personification of formal and proper. She has beautiful bright eyes and the light-tanned skin but there is something suspicious about her that draws Yuri's curiosity so much that he simply can't concentrate on other important things. Yuri finds it strange that a beautiful and buxom maid, as well as almost perfect in everything, come to work in a quiet little mansion in the countryside. Actually, he caught her furtively in the library muttering incantations under her breath, but his thoughts are suddenly interrupted by the presence of the new maid who asks Yuri if he needs anything, and the maid wonders why he pays so much attention to her, and surprised by her perfect prediction, Yuri accuses her of being able to read his mind. She is too attractive to be a simple maid, so much so that she can't even fall asleep at night. Strange as it may seem, the maid turns completely red as a tomato, suffering shyly. She offers to serve him some tea to help him sleep better, then quickly returns to her duties, while Yuri thinks she is absolutely suspicious. Damn, even in his office he continues to think about his mysterious new maid, and she returns to serve the master a cup of tea. Looking at her more closely, Yuri continues to see suspicious things even when she is just doing her job. He blames his lack of ideas about his maid on the fact that she barely engaged in conversations. What went through his mind when he hired her? Why did he hire such a mysterious maid? This anime loves to repeat the title, yeah? Yuri then recalls how the former employees of the mansion had to quit their jobs when her parents passed away. Her mother and father were the unfortunate victims of a car accident, and because of this, she had to take over the mansion. The inheritance he received was not enough to pay the current staff, so he had to fire them all. Although his relative did not agree with this decision, he chose to live alone in the humble mansion. I wish I lived in the humble mansion. The day after his staff left, they woke up, fully determined to fix it up and learn to live alone. After all, he is the one who is in self-proclaimed owner of the mansion. Now he wants to know how to do everything by himself so he can quickly become an adult. Yuri cooks his own breakfast. He burns it and he washes his own clothes. There is soup and suds everywhere because he poured too much soap. Then he tries to vacuum. He accidentally sucks up his school homework. Now it is all wrinkled and ruined. Well, he tried, and after all that stressful day, he was getting tired. Surely it could at least be a nice bowl of instant ramen for dinner, but suddenly he noticed a mysterious presence at the front door, and this was the first face-to-face encounter with his new maid. Yuri had never seen someone like her before. The maid approached and bowed to him, expressing her sincerest apologies for visiting him so late at night. Furthermore, she noticed that Yuri seems to be understaffed at the mansion and asked if he was alone. Despite his strange interaction, Yuri felt no fear and questioned the woman about her business at the mansion. She politely apologized and asked Yuri to let her work for this place. Yuri informed that he was not hiring because he did not have the fund of maintaining the staff, pointed out that he recently had to lay out his employees. However, the maid insisted, informing Yuri that she was not looking for any compensation. "It is not inconvenient for you to live alone?" she was asking. But suddenly, Yuri looked away and said he did not find a troublesome, but the maid continued, "If I maid, give in the cleaning, wash your clothes, and I cook to you complete satisfaction, you master." As he was about to refuse her offer, he looked her in the eyes to immediately felt familiarity with her. There was something in her bright purple eyes that was as if he had already seen somewhere. Yuri eventually gave in and let the strange woman come into work to emphasize that he was the master of the house and he has the right to throw them out, and he was necessarily returning to the present. Yuri contemplates his decision to consider and should have said no to the seductive lady. However, unlike the other maid, she has had all the meals she made were delicious. When she cleaned the place, always looked brighter than before. Plus, every time she washed her clothes, they smelled so good. It was like being under a spell. Silent of surprise exaggerate a spell that if you are a sorceress, right? The maid turns around to look at Yuri confused. The young master simply refused to believe that someone so perfect would do a whole job for free. It's impossible for her to be an ordinary maid. She has to be a sorceress. Those eyes, so damn beautiful but undeniable suspicious eyes. She can't be human. "So you figure me out," said the maid. Yuri was puzzled by this. Continuing, the maid explained that she is in fact a sorceress and that she bewitched Yuri's heart using her eyes. Finally, an admission of guilt. How else could you explain how everything she cleans seems to glow, as all the clothes she washes have a nice smell, and how those beautiful eyes sparkle like amethyst, those eyes that she could never look away from and always make my heart race. Only sorcery can be the reason. The maid blushes deeply at this and excuses herself with she has to go to shopping. Once she is out, she lets out a sign she only intends to joke with Yuri, and that spells book she was reading. If it was really just a book with cleaning instructions, but how fast everything happened. Yuri could confront the maid about her nefarious plan, and it doesn't make sense to him. Anyway, if that sorceress was in her motivation for staying in the mansion while hanging out the laundry, the mysterious maid asks Yuri if he has finished his task as the master of the house, and Yuri seizes the moment to confront this supposed sorceress. Without much ado, she interrupts his question about her tasks by saying, "Tell me, now what are you planning?" Where she plans to make a delicious chicken and eggs rice bowl today. Hearing this, Yuri instantly becomes happy, but then realizes she is getting distracted for her priorities. To return to the subject, he makes it clear to her that he is not asking about lunch. He is asking about why she came to the mansion. One way or another, he assures her that she will get answer in the end. Instead of scaring a maid that younger master's anger, it makes her laugh why it is because her dark secrets were now revealed. It's not just that she finds it so adorable that Yuri keeps paying attention to them. He refuses to believe her excuse. Yuri tells her that even though he thinks the maid is cute, he doesn't smile at her, she does. No matter how cute she is, he refuses to be fooled by her twist and radiant facade, and it's not just her smile. He rips about how all the expressions make him so nervous, making the maid turn even redder than before. All Yuri wants to know is why someone like her is staying in this mansion. First, the maid explains that she can give him a reasonable answer, but she can't tell him yet. That night, the maid sneaks up on Yuri with a plate of suspicious-looking vegetables, cornering him against the wall. Yuri has nowhere to run. Now, he's totally at her mercy. Or is it just a nightmare to calm his nerves? Yuri decides to go for a walk, but notices the chicken light come on at the end of the hallway. At this time of night, it could be a burglar or not. What should he do? He convinces himself that he should not be afraid as the owner of the mansion. There is no room for fear in his house. Oh, wait, it's just the maid? The maid, could she be up too? Yuri decides not to go any further and closes the door. The next morning, Yuri wakes up to the beautiful delicacy on the table that tastes absolutely this delicious, even too delicious. But something familiar momentarily jolts Yuri. The vegetable soup on the table reminds him of the same kind of food he saw in his nightmare. He saw her last night working so busily in the kitchen. She put something in his soup. The maid teases Yuri. She added a love potion in the broth to make him fall in love with her. Plus, she's actually impressed that he notices. Aha, Yuri knew. So, that's what she was perpetrating last night. No wonder all the food she makes is so good she could never take her eyes off those beautiful thighs. Yuri's heart always beats so fast with his new maid, and it's all the fault of her love potion. The maid's face turned a very light shade of red. That is exactly the reason she states with a hesitant smile. Actually, she is too embarrassed to admit that the real reason she got up so late was because she was studying cookbooks, as she wanted to continue preparing tasty foods for Yuri. Later, in the hallway, Yuri tries to figure out why the maid always seems to dodge the issue regarding her supposed black magic. Watching as she cleans the window, he realized that he has no idea about anything related to his maid. She knows what type of food Yuri loves and hates to eat, but in the case he knows nothing about her, nor her interests or dislikes. You don't even know her name. Wait, this lady has been working for you for days, and now you wonder what her name is. He decides to approach her to ask her about this, to which she replies, "How do you help him, Master Yuri?" He is perplexed as to why the maid now calls him by his first name. She was never done that before. The maid disagreed, believing it is normal to address their masters by their first name. She, however, definitely did not expect that reaction, putting a finger to her lips. She shyly teases, "Maybe you are embarrassed. You make it sound we are married," Yuri suddenly shouts. Yuri explains to the mysterious woman, a maid, that her parents call her by her first name and were deeply in love, but that's not what she meant at all, for which is quickly embarrassed at this point, excusing herself with going shopping. The maid seems so disturbed by their discussion that Yuri becomes even more convinced that something is up with the supposed wizard woman. Later, in his library, Yuri pulls out the file containing all his employees' information. He then discovers that her name is Lilith. At last, now he knows something important about her. The dinner Yuri prepares for the moment when Lilith says his name, but this time she only refers to him as young master. So Yuri asks, "You're not going to use my first name?" The maid clarifies that if he wants her to do it, she will, but she teases him, saying that if he keeps doing it, they would just end up becoming close. She tells him that using someone else's name doesn't necessarily make them closer. Of course, his parents were madly in love, but they also understood each other very well. In his case, he doesn't even know anything about her. Yuri invites Lily to tell him more about her, and even start calling her by name. This makes the maid blush and smiles in appreciation. However, it's not that he trusts her. It's more as a part of his goal to become an adult and his mission to eventually expose her that night. Lily finds herself looking at the picture of Yuri. She remembers her master asking her why she suddenly thought of calling him by name, but she really has no particular reason to do so. Her mind that goes back to the night she applied for work before his arrival. She traveled from a faraway place and rushed with her luggage to the mansion. It seems something drove her to live here. After that, the main character was invited to a custom party. Yuri dressed up as a sorcerer and the maid dressed up as a dragon. To a busty brunette, the brat of Queen and Fuhisaki, of a princess. In fact, she looked better in the costume. Lily received her master cordially and told him that today is Sunday, so she should go to rest. She took this request and decided to go to the city, where outside she met her old friend Fuhisaki, about whom she was talking about April, from her heart to Yuri. Hearing that Lily blushes, and next to all this conversation was Yuri, who decided to follow her maid to hear all the gossip. The next day after school, Yuri tells her green-haired friend how he feels about his maid, and she exaggerates and tells him that if he feels that way about her, the only thing he should do is to confess to her. And since the main character is a great guy talking about love, he decides to turn on the turbo to go straight to his mansion and tell his maid that he is deeply in love with her. He goes straight to her in the mansion and tells her maid with romantic words that he is in love with her, but obviously the main character is a boy and she is a woman. I don't know how many years older in all these circumstances is when this woman gets involved. She is an orange movie of Finee seriously, who is here to tell her friends Lilith that she should go back to her old mansion to work with her because she doesn't want it to be with a brat who doesn't have any money. But Lily stood her ground and told him not to bother her. When she heard all that, she decided to stay to see how is her job in this mansion, but the only thing she did was to screw it up because she is inefficient and grumpy, and that was enough for her to understand better this brat. And after that she picked him up from his school, the main character, she became his best friend and made a Christmas surprise for all the characters I named before. At the end, they left him with little presents for Christmas. How nice! A couple of days later is when a character arrives to the mansion. This old man is the older master of the mansion where Lily worked. He came here to talk to her about all they came to take the orange movie because it was time, so he took her that day. Yuri tells Lily that he wants to have a date with her tomorrow. Obviously, she went out with a boy who is about 6 years younger than her. I think they visit his slave Yuri family. They rode a train to who knows where, and finally, they confess in the evening of that day, but she told him that she was great respect for him and that she will be willing to wait for time to do its job to bring the two of them together. That is the language of men who have to wait until Yuri is of the age so they can have relations. And so ends that anime, at the first glance to romance between a boy and his maid. And that's all for today. I hope you liked the video and give us a like. Share the video with your friends, subscribe to our channel and join with us for the next video. Goodbye, my anime lovers!